Hi, I know I promised the week before elections that I would do this like in almost, several a week, 4 or 5 times, maybe 6 times a week, basically doing them in 10-minute bites so you could watch 10 minutes and move on with your day, because most people don't have an attention span of more than 10 minutes. So, and after the election, I obviously had the same knee-jerk reaction that women across the globe did, right? And all minority women, I think, had that knee-jerk reaction. Also, by 7 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, most women were blaming American men. Men seem to feel like they get blamed for a lot of shit, so yeah, they got blamed for this. Women in France threw a fit. I thought that was kind of surprising, but they also had just came off of what they would call their trial of the century, where a man had been drugging his wife and had dozens upon dozens of men raping her, including himself. So French women are still probably a little bit rightfully hurting over that. But by Wednesday night, 12 hours later, the numbers were rolling in, and minority men had voted less than minority women for the female, but very close to or and above 70% to 80% of them voted for the woman. But by 7 p.m. on Wednesday night, it was basically announced that the man in the race had only taken 43% of white men. And then, of course, almost 57% had actually voted for the woman. I'm not going to get into the demographic that tilted that for this video. That'll be the next one. But I want to tell American men thank you. Because honestly, I spent most of Wednesday just thinking what every woman on this planet thought. Thinking that American men had just set the bar so low that there was no lower to go. And of course, to top it all off, there were guys posting stuff like, "Your body, my choice," and absurdity threats. And it became, by mid-afternoon Wednesday, just nobody wanted to see it, nobody wanted to hear it. And it went on throughout the rest of the week, too. So there is a handful of you that are basically shit. But for 57%, basically, of American men to say that they would vote for a woman, and a minority woman on top of that, speaks volumes to how far American men have actually come. American men have really come a lot further than I thought. And if you know me personally, most of you do, I think, you've probably heard me say that over the 30 years that I worked in the technical and engineering field, my experience had been there was always that one asshole. Always that one. Always that one misogynistic jerk. And I was a simple target because I was the only female in the group. It was just exhausting to deal with him. And he always had at least 2 that were on the bandwagon. Not quite as heinous, but as long as he, the 3 of them, I would have to be watching. And it didn't matter where, what company, what job. It just didn't matter. There were always 3 of them, right? 2 of them were emboldened by the worst of the 3 of them. And they might not have been as bad when he wasn't around, but as long as he was around, it was rough. And I also said that on the opposite end of the spectrum, there were always 3 guys willing to stick their neck out. One of them always willing to stick their neck out to help me, right? I watched 2 different men in my career lose their jobs for protecting me. And they weren't protecting me because I was screwing them or because I was that kind of woman. Like, women automatically assume, oh, she's better looking than me. She wants to fuck my husband. Nobody wants your husbands, sweethearts. If anyone can take them, he's not worth having. I say that all the time. I'll say it again. But there was always, 3 of them that were in my corner, batting for me, and usually one that was willing to stick his neck out. And I understand that the other 2 didn't want to stick their neck out. I understand why somebody doesn't want to lose their job. They have their own families. They have their own responsibilities. Most of the time they were guys that were at their retirement. They were close to retiring and they didn't give a shit anymore. But I always had 3 that were staunchly in my corner. And then of the 4 men in between, right? There were 3 that leaned towards those heinous guys, and there were the 1 that leaned towards the 3 nice guys. It's just heinous and nice. Let's put it that way. Misogynistic, not misogynistic, whatever you want to call it. And I would say easily 2 to 3 out of that remaining 3, right? I said 1 usually leaned that way and 3 leaned that other way. Yeah, I was almost guaranteed 30 years ago they were all going with the misogynistic jerk, right? Just fall in line. And over the years, I've still joked about it, that there were always 3 up in the air, right? There were 4. That 4th guy more and more seemed to become more and more into that side. But you still had those 3 in the middle that you didn't know for sure what they were going to do or how they were going to handle it. And wow, to see that basically 2 of them now sided against the misogyny and against that idea that women can't be equal. I gotta thank you guys. I was relieved. And it took a couple days for it to really sink in, because I was upset. I was upset over the idea that men didn't want a woman too for majority of Wednesday. And then I was relieved. And I thought, man, that is awesome. It is awesome. And it needs to be said that it's awesome. It's awesome to think that basically 6 out of 10 of you believe that a woman is equal. And that you believe that race is not an issue. You voted for a minority woman. Bravo. I'm sorry that it seems like I'm melancholy over it, because I am really happy. I am happy to see that, because I also think in the United States military, that has got to be there too. And when I was in the United States military, I promise you that was not there. It was more there than it was within the civilian population. But man, I think American men prove that they've really come a long way. And I just hope and pray that over the next couple years that American men are willing to push that and stand behind the fact that they think women are equal. I mean, we don't get equal pay. We don't get equal treatment. There are still heinous men out there. And to know that that a majority of you, not the mass majority of you, but the majority of you now are behind women and behind your daughters and your wives and your moms and your sisters and your granddaughters. I just want to thank you. Even if other women are still licking our wounds, you didn't save the day, you didn't win the day, but it's a battle, it's one battle. In the grand scheme of things, to know that almost 60% of you are to the point where you believe women are equal is a huge win, especially given some of the heinous stuff that some of those guys that actually voted for the guy because they really want to go backwards in time like that. You guys did something amazing, and you deserve to be thanked for that. And so on Veterans Day, especially for the men that have served this country and saw exactly where that was going, if those heinous guys got what they wanted, thank you. Really, thank you. Keep up the fight, and happy Veterans Day to those of you that also served. God bless the USA, man. Peace.